Let's do the fabric lab that you have from your lab pack. So I've got my piece of cardboard, I'm in my kitchen, and in the pack I've already taken out my packet of glue and my brush. So I've got the brush. In fact, I used the brush on the other lab project, that's why it's like that. I'll leave that sealed. Then I've got a piece of fabric in here, a stick. I don't know if I'm going to use the stick or not, I might. So what we're going to do here is we're going to glue this piece of fabric to a piece of cardboard, and then we're going to shrink it. So I'm going to take a look at my fabric, and my fabric is about this big. So I'm just going to kind of make some marks here where my fabric is. Okay? Now if your fabric's too big, you can go ahead and cut it. In fact, I might just cut this. Let's cut this. Let's make a nice square piece. Take some good sharp scissors. Okay, I'm going to throw that away. So there's that. Now you notice some of this fabric might have a stain to it. What we will do in the field is I'll take MEK or something. I'll see if I can get that stain out. I'll scrub it, get all the remnants out of it. If it's on the end or something and I can throw it away, I'll just throw it away. You see there's a little stain there. So in the field we do that. Okay, so now I've changed the size of this. I'm going to square up this corner just to make it look pretty. Okay, so here's my new there's where my fabric's going to sit. Now I'm going to want a glue edge around this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cutout and we'll make a small window frame inside that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to put my fabric maybe around here. Okay? Now you can do this with a razor blade, but Tim ends up in the emergency room with razor blades, so I'm not going to use a razor blade. I got a steak knife here. I could do it with that. I'm going to do it with my pocket knife because I happen to be not too bad with my pocket knife. You can do this with scissors. I got my scissors here, so I could do it with it. Whatever I can do to cut a nice little hole. This is not rocket science, as they say. Okay, so we have a hole here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this because it's a little easier. I'm going to take this stick and I'm going to smooth this back, and I'm just going to cut this edge. It makes it a little easier for me. Okay, so I'm going to take this. Okay, let's take our brush. Okay, now, once again, if you want to make this lab up using the real stuff of Cincinnati State, you're more than welcome to come in and do that. This kind of gets us through it. Now, I've covered a lot of airplanes with fabric, and one of the things I can tell you is that you're always using the manufacturer's recommended glue, and it varies. Different manufacturers use different glues. They use different covering processes, and so it's going to be a specification. They're going to call out the fabric, they're going to call out the glue, they're going to call out all the chemicals that are required to put this thing together. So covering with fabric is merely following sets of procedures and doing it correctly. So anyway, here I have my finished patch on here. I'm going to let this dry overnight, and if I want, I guess I can clean it up a little bit. Okay, I can wipe that off a little bit. I'm going to try not to mess up the fabric. Now the other thing is I'm going to make this a little bit loose. I'm going to push my finger in here and make it loose, because in our next step we're going to shrink it. Alright, so the next morning you'll see something kind of like this, and what we'll do is we'll take the iron and we'll heat up the iron, and when we do this at school we calibrate the iron. We have a thermometer that goes on top of the iron, and it has a spill a little bit of water, of course. At school we will calibrate the iron, and we'll calibrate it to some temperature, like starting with 250. We'll do 350, and our final iron will be at 400. But we'll just take this and we'll just take and pass this iron over this, and we'll see the fabric tighten right up. And when you get done, you'll have tight fabric, just like you do with an airplane. So this is the project. It might pull loose from the glue joints. It's probably not. I think this mine certainly did okay. So this is applying fabric to a flight control, or to a box, or to a surface, just like we would apply fabric to the airplane or parts of the airplane. So to complete this lab, you'll take a picture and email it to Wendell.